Welcome back. I am finally going to unbox my LaserPecker LX2. I have the smoke purifier, the riser base, and the laser is pretty big, so it is on the floor currently. I will have my husband help me to unbox everything. For some reason, I totally forgot to record the unboxing of the riser base, but here it is, and this was really easy to assemble. The reason we started with the riser base is that the laser will go on top. So before packing out the laser, I wanted to assemble the riser base first. I did get the rotary attachment as well, which you will be using with the riser base, but I will save the assembly and setting up that one for another video. But assembly was really easy and the manual is just perfect to find out how to assemble. Now it was time to unbox the actual laser, and I'm really excited to see what's inside. This laser is really heavy, so it is advisable that you are 2 persons to lift it, which we also did to add it on top of the riser base. I personally love to unbox everything from LaserPecker because it's always very well packaged and a little kind of surprise what's inside the box. And this one was no exception because under the lid you will find all the accessories that you need for the machine. In the top layer you will find a material package and also the instructions book. In the second layer you will have the toolbox, which contains screws and parts for the laser. I will go into more details on this box in a bit. I also received the 2-watt IR module as well as the 40-watt diode module, and I got the 20-watt module with the machine. You'll also find the slats, which you use instead of the honeycomb for the laser, and under the slats you have the exhaust pipe. Last but not least, you have power cables in this little box to connect to your laser. In the laser I also found this flexible fixture, which I'll tell you a little bit more about how to use later in this video. My fixture was in the bottom along with my 20-watt diode module as well as the air assist pump for the LaserPecker LX2. Now that we've emptied the laser, it's time to remove the rest of the plastic and start cutting away the strips, and we can set it up. We started with adding the module inside the laser. I do go into more details about how exactly you do this later in the video, but we installed the 20-watt module right here. On the back of the laser, you will remove the cover and install the smoke exhaust pipe. I do have the smoke extractor as well, so I will be adding that to mine later in the video. Connect the power cable and the USB cable. If you are going to use that, you could also add in the security key at this point, but I'll do it in a bit. With the air assist, you do get 2 extra filters, and you can order more directly on LaserPecker's website. The air assist is powered by the laser, which is really cool. So you only need to add in the tube from the air assist to the laser. And as mentioned, I also received the smoke purifier, which is really great if you are working in a small workspace and you don't have the possibility or option to vent outside of a window or an open door. This also comes very well packaged, and it has a lot of accessories in the top of the box. Assembling is really easy. You just slide one end of the smoke exhaust pipe into a hose clamp and you insert it into the airlet on the top of the smoke purifier. Then you also insert the second smoke exhaust pipe into the air outlet of the smoke purifier, and you secure it in place by tightening the knob on these genius hose clamps that are also included. Last but not least, you connect the power cable and ensure the plug is securely inserted, and then you turn on the power switch to start using the smoke purifier. You do get 4 extra pre-filters, which is the top layer of the filter. Beneath that you have a HEPA filter, high efficiency filter, but this is a smoke purifier and not an air purifier, which means that it's way more effective than the air purifier is. A smaller detail that I did forget to mention is that since I have the riser base, I actually had to unscrew the bottom plate on the laser. It will be able to slide in through roofs and levels in the bottom of the riser. But according to my timestamps, this entire video of unboxing and setting up the laser took 29 minutes. So it is really an easy laser to set up, and the instructions that LaserPecker provide is really step by step. It's a very beautiful machine, and I love all the features that come with this LaserPecker LX2, and I can't wait to explore every single one of them. The air assist looks really neat as well, and you can actually adjust the airflow or set it to auto, which is genius. And as far as the smoke purifier goes, you can also adjust the airflow on this one. It's not really that noisy at all, which I'll show you later in the video. But it actually also has a timer, which is really cool if you are going to make more time-consuming engravings and you just want the machine to be running on its own. Never leave a laser unattended, but you can definitely use a camera. In the little toolbox that follows, you will have some screws, you'll have screwdrivers, hex keys, and you'll have a USB flash drive, security keys, PC seats, I think that's these for maybe calibrating the camera, and protective windows, which is this one. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do about that yet. But then you'll also have 2 distance sensors. These are magnetic and they go straight to your laser module and snap directly on the side over here. So that's really awesome and easy. I really love how easy these modules are. I do have a lot of other diode lasers with swappable modules, but this one is really easy to replace and restore, since all you have to do is plug in the cable as well as the air assist, and the pointer, as said, is magnetic, so you just snap it directly on the side. Before powering on your laser, you do have to add in one of these keys, and it is nice that you get 2, because if you would like to lock your machine, you can simply pull this out after use and then no one can use your laser. But in case you accidentally lose the key, you have a replacement. I will check what's on the flash drive as well, but let's start by adding in the key. So the key, you just add in this little slot here, and now you can operate the laser. It is capable of Wi-Fi, but also a USB cable, which you can plug in directly to your computer. That is the option that I'm going to use for now, since my internet is a bit slow outside my workshop. But once you have plugged in the power cord and the USB, make sure that you release the emergency button, and now you can start the laser. My laser is now set up, and I actually turned it on so you can hear how silent this thing is. I didn't filter out any noise in this part of the video, and you might be hearing my fridge growling in the back. It's actually producing more noise than the laser is. But before we set it up, there's a few things that I wanted to show you, and also a few things that I've unpacked after making the initial unboxing. So first of all, I want to show you how easy this machine is. When you open the lid, it will actually dim the lights, which is super cool. And also, if you are going to cut larger projects, you can actually use this door to slide them in. LaserPecker also made a conveyor feeder, which they will release later on, and I really hope that I'll be able to test that as well. But if you are using the riser base, you can actually unscrew the bottom plate of the laser. And everything here is magnetic, which I really like. But once you've unscrewed the base plates, you can drag it out. And if you want to clean it, you can just empty it. But it has all these different slots, so you can actually place it a bit like in an oven, depending how tall material you are going to engrave. If you are going to use the rotary, and I will be using mine, but I'll make a dedicated tutorial on the rotary, then you of course have to place this base plate in the bottom so the rotary will fit inside the laser. But the riser is awesome in case you are going to do larger projects. Most diodes you have to lift the entire machine. Here you can actually swap out the bottom plate. Compared to other lasers, this one doesn't have a honeycomb bed. It uses slats. You will automatically get 4 of these included with the lasers. Should you need more, you can buy them separately. But you can place these depending what project you are cutting or engraving. And I really think this is nice because with a honeycomb bed you do have a lot of cleaning to do. You don't with these slats. Also, a honeycomb bed will create flashback marks. This method will be able to cut a whole lot cleaner. And since the laser has 3D autofocus, I'm not concerned about warped or bended material because you can adjust that, and that is really nice. As I showed you, you do have this magnetic little piece that you just snap on the side, and this is what will go down to your material and determine the focus height. And with the 3D system, it will actually go over on different points to find the right distance. And you will get 2 of these with the laser in case one of them will break. But you just add them to the laser and they snap on directly on the side here, and then this arm will go down and pin it on your material. LaserPecker also provided a material packet, and I'll just go through what was inside of that. You will get a little slate coaster, and a cool thing is that they actually started making QR codes which will give you the correct settings for the material. Also, you got these 2 aluminium sheets, and these are about 0.3 millimeters thick, so they are thicker than a basic business card, which made me a little confused because I don't know if I'm supposed to test engravings with these or if it can actually cut through. But what I do think these are for, I'll show in a bit, because you also get a piece of PU leather, and since this is easily bendable, I'll just remove the rest here. I actually think that you get these aluminium sheets so you can place them on the slats, and then you can place your leather on top so it doesn't fall through the slats and down to the bottom if you are going to cut your PU leather. Last but not least, you also get some cardstock. I'm not really sure what to do about this because this machine should be way too good for handling cardstock. But you get plastic sheets. I've actually thought these were just plain white paper, but they are plastic. And this is for the IR module, which I'll tell you a little more about in a second. And last but not least, you get a couple of basswood plywood sheets, and again you have the QR code to set your perfect settings on the machine. But let's take a look at the modules, because as you can see, I do have my 20-watt module installed right now, and they are really easy to swap out. You just remove the plug here, and then you take off the air then you can slide it out. And on the side here you do have a handle that will lock or unlock the module. So if you pull it up, it will unlock, and then you just take your next module and slide it in like so. Then you take the handle, pull it down to lock the module, and then you can take the cord, push it right in, take your air assist hose, pull that on top, and then you just take your magnetic piece here. Whoops. It will just adjust. And now it is running to the corner to make sure that it is being recognized. So I'll just take it outside again, because then you can take your magnetic piece and just pin it to the side here with the magnets. And that's really how easy you can swap out the modules. But I know a lot of you have been asking about the wattage of these modules, so let's go through that. With my machine I have the 20 watt diode module, I have the 40 watt diode module, and LaserPecker is coming up with a 60 watt diode module for this laser, which I'll hopefully be able to test out once it is released. And then I also have the 2 watt IR module. If we start with the diode modules, the difference in the wattage is that the bigger this number is, the faster and deeper it can cut and engrave. The smaller your number is, the finer details it can engrave, because the spot size is finer on the lower watt modules and a little bigger on the higher watt modules. And that makes it really cool that you can swap these out, because if I'm doing something that requires a lot of fine engraving, I can use my 20 watt module, and if I want to cut a bigger project, I can use my 40 watt or even my 60 watt module once that's released. Diode lasers are perfect for wood, leather, cardstock, colored acrylic, but not transparent acrylic or transparent glass, because the wavelengths can't fire against see-through material. You can definitely still engrave glass and even clear acrylic with a diode laser, but you need to coat it with paint or something solid to be able to recognize the material. I will be making a lot of comparisons between these modules, so in case you are interested in watching those, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, I do love to engrave glass, and until now I've always used my LaserPecker LP2, which is only a 5 watt diode laser. So with this laser I will probably use the 20 watt module to be able to engrave finer details on my glass. Diode lasers can engrave and cut some types of acrylic, but only certain colors, without having to coat them in any way. But let's move on to the 2 watt IR. IR stands for infrared laser. The diode lasers has a blue light, this one has a red light, and this module can basically do everything that the diode laser can't. So in case you want to be able to engrave on metal, plastic, and I even read that it can actually engrave on resin, which is something I'm dying to test out, then the 2 watt IR module is perfect for you. The IR is not the same as a fiber laser, because it will only leave a marking on top of metal, where a fiber laser can actually deep engrave into metal. But in case you are going to engrave on jewelry as example, then the 2 watt IR will be perfect for you. But another thing that LaserPecker also included, I'll just move my modules aside, is this really cool and heavy fixture. This is something that you usually only see with fiber lasers, And what this does is that you can take all types of silly looking shapes and actually make them perfect for engraving. So I have this bird and I want to engrave on the chest. Let me just show you, if I placed it like this, what would happen. And you might see that this will not be easy to engrave, since I can't really find a flat surface to engrave on. The LaserPecker LX2 do have the 3D focus point system, but this will not lay flat for very long. So that's where this fixture comes in handy, because if I just squeeze it down here and I tighten this handle, then it's actually laying flat on the fixture. I'll just see if I can get a better angle of this. So this is with the fixture, this is without the fixture. And I do realize that it isn't flat just yet. So if I just loosen my handle, let's try again to show you a little better. I do think that it's somewhat straight now. So now I can actually use my laser and go ahead and engrave this chest. But let's say I wanted to engrave the beak of this bird. Then again I'll just loosen and I can squeeze down the head here. And once I have it positioned, I'll just tighten the handle. And now I have a flat surface to engrave the beak. I do think this little tool will be very handy in my business, and I'm super grateful for LaserPecker for supplying this one. Last but not least, I wanted to show you the air assist, which in my opinion is a really great looking design, but it's also really cool because you can set it to auto. That way it will not turn on unless your laser is working. You can also turn it off if you don't want any air assist. And then you have 4 levels. So this is 1, 2, 3 and max. So depending which project you are going to cut, you might need a lot of airflow. In case you are engraving, you either want just a tiny bit of airflow or you want to turn it off. But I'll just try and leave mine on auto the entire time to see how well this will adjust. But with all that said, let's see how to install the LX2 in the LaserPecker Design Space. Okay, before I set up the machine, I was actually taken by surprise because I wanted to check the USB flash drive which came with my laser. And in here you actually find a LPB file for metal cutting on aluminium card. But spoiler alert, this is for the LP5, which I actually knew can cut through metal because I actually made a video about that. I am a beta tester, so hopefully there will be some other files on your flash drive when you get it. But just be aware that if yours contain the same files as mine does, it is for the LP5 and not the LX2. But let's get on with setting up the laser. So first of all, you need to install LaserPecker Design Space. I already have mine installed, so I'll just open it up. And you can connect your laser through both Wi-Fi or USB cable. I am going to use mine with the USB cable, so let me just remove the flash drive and I'll plug in my cable here. Also, you can get an app for your phone and or iPads, and you can actually control your laser directly from your phone or tablet, which is really awesome. And I do see that LaserPecker just came with a new software version, so I am going to install that and get back to you once my software is updated. I've now updated my drivers and the software, and to connect your laser you just click new projects and then you go up here and connect device. Since I am a beta tester, I will be using a beta test of the software, which is why my laser isn't detected. But you can also choose to connect via a Bluetooth dongle. You can use Wi-Fi, and you can even enter your IP address. And this is how the LaserPecker Design Space looks like. I will, however, install mine in this LX2 software. So let's connect the laser, and my device is now connected. And it automatically noticed that I have the 20 watt module installed, which is correct. And now I just have to figure out how to install my camera, calibrate the laser, and everything else. And since this might take a bit for me to figure out, I will make separate videos on this subject, so this video doesn't turn out way too long. Also, because this is the beta version, I know that this will not be the same version of software which you will get. So instead of me showing you how to do it in this beta software, I'll rather wait with the tutorials until they have finalized the correct software. But in here you can change modes, so you have different processing mode, base plate, curved surface, that's 3D function, which is super awesome. Then you have for the conveyor feeder, and you have for the rotary extensions. I'll just click a little around just to see if there are something. What they are developing now is that they are actually going to make these image references to guide you through all the software. But just looking at the software, it kind of reminds me of Lightburn, because you have different colors for layers. Let's just try and type in, whoops, it already pre-typed LaserPecker, and that's cool because over here it will then give you some parameters. And again, since I am using the beta version, I might not get the illustrations that I just spoke about, but I saw in their own videos that you will actually be able to switch between light, medium and dark engravings when you are engraving, and that way it will just adjust the settings for you. Since I am a beta tester, I also know that they are working on the software, and it might not reflect the software that you will be using when you get your LX2. So let's skip the rest of this part, and I'll be more accurate in future tutorials. So although I haven't gotten around to test the machine, I really hope that you liked this video and it gave you an idea of what you are going to get if you already ordered the LX2. I will be working on mine these next couple of months and maybe even longer, and make videos around every topic that I possibly can find on this laser. And although I do from time to time get some, oh, but you got this laser for free, so you are not trustworthy comments, I do promise that I only give my honest opinions, and I share the issues that I come across, like the software as example. But being a beta tester, that is what you would expect, and I honestly don't think it will take me that long to figure out everything so I can teach you. So all in all, I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. My first impressions of this machine is awesome. If you haven't checked out my previous video that I made before getting the laser, I actually talked a little bit about what this laser is capable of, and I am so ready to explore everything that this laser can do, because I really think it's going to be a game-changing machine, not only to me, but also compared to a lot of other machines on the market. If you are curious about learning more about the LaserPecker LX2, I dropped my affiliate link as well as a discount code in the description. You are in no way obligated to use it, but it's free for you, and every click means that I get compensated for the content that I create. So in case you do choose to use it, I just wanted to thank you for your support. And also, if there's anything that you would like me to show on this laser or other lasers or just techniques in general, please drop a comment, tell me what you need, and I'm always happy to make you a video on every single subject. So please, please, please like this video, place a comment and subscribe to my channel. That will motivate me to keep making content that you like to watch. If you want to learn more about LaserPecker as a brand and the other lasers, I have a playlist up here where I have a lot of videos on the LP5 and LP2. I also have the LP4, but I honestly haven't really made any videos on it since the LP5 fulfills all my needs. But I am looking forward to talk to you again, and thank you so much for watching.